what the Chancellor needs to do is to just come clean. If the Chancellor's family, at the same time, are using schemes to reduce their own household tax, then the public are entitled to know about that.
All this cloak and dagger plotting around Akshata Murty, daughter of Infosys co-founder Narayan Murthy, aimed at her husband Rishi Sunak, Chancellor of the Exchequer, seems to come straight out of Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak has been far more popular up until now than Prime Minister Boris Johnson and has been spoken of widely as his successor. Less widely now after all this. At the bottom of this whole issue is Britain's historic way of living off the words. One of those ways has been the non-domicile status, the non-dom as it is commonly called, in place since 1799. Under that, someone from outside can settle in Britain but not have to pay tax on their earnings abroad. But they do pay a fee for staying and settling in Britain. They spend a lot of money here and often go on to invest. A lot of money for Britain comes in this way. Akshata Murty was registered here as a non-dom and accordingly could have saved up to $3 million in taxes last year on earnings of about $15 million in dividends on an investment in Infosys said to be close to $1 billion. All perfectly legal and legitimate and within the rules, but leaked into the media and spun into a scandal. The British just don't like foreigners who come into the country and make a lot of money, particularly if the Brits feel that some, if not all, of that money should be coming their way. And if, as some tabloids have been screaming, she is richer than the Queen, the British certainly are not going to love her for it.
If you are a minister in this country, you need to declare not just your own financial interest, but also that of your spouse, in order to make sure that there are no conflicts of interest. And it seems to me that there is a clear conflict of interest here, because the Chancellor of the Exchequer is responsible for the rules on non-doms. He has a wife who has decided, and she made a positive decision, to become a non-dom, which meant that she doesn't pay tax on her worldwide income, but only on her income in the UK.
In the face of this political and media gunfire aimed at her, Akshata's damage control moves could well have turned out to be self-damaging. She says now she will pay taxes even on earnings abroad. She says that she wants to save Rishi Sunak from any distraction. She says that she admires the British sense of fair play. And of course, this has been far from appeasing. Labour has turned this against her. He says that her admission and her change show that she has been doing something wrong, that she is correcting when she need not have. There was nothing wrong that she did to begin with. And Labour has said that she would not have done so had she not been confronted by the media exposing. And there seems to be something in that.
Those millions of people who are struggling in a very real cost of living crisis are entitled to know whether the Chancellor who's putting their tax up is part of or using as a family a scheme to reduce his own household taxes. That's very fundamental. That's about transparency and accountability. At the moment, it looks to me very much like one rule for them and another rule for everybody else.
Only a very few at the very top could have leaked such personal information to the media. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he works closely with Rishi Sunak and says that family members should be kept out as far as possible from matters involving those in public life. Rishi Sunak has ordered an inquiry, no doubt that will clear him, but this is not about facts and fairness, this is about perceptions and prejudices. And that has meant that Rishi Sunak's hopes of becoming the Prime Minister have at the least been dented severely. Akshata Murty has moved out of 11 Downing Street right here, where she's been staying in the official residence of the Chancellor of the Exchequer, right next door to the Prime Minister's house. Many, of course, are hoping that Rishi Sunak does not follow her out. Others are aiming for just that. This is no longer about facts and fairness or the law. This is about perceptions and prejudices. And as those go, Rishi Sunak is now further and further away from those hopes that he had no doubt for himself and others had of him and for him of becoming Prime Minister.